What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, go ahead and smash that like and sub up. If you already been here, I appreciate y'all, man. Keep on watching. Hey, but I got a good one for y'all, man. You know I stay dropping those hits, those classics, and straight bangers, man. I don't know, man. But go ahead and sit tight, grab your popcorn, and let's get straight into it.
This is light work. Come on, spill it.
Have you ever heard of disappearing object phenomena, or DOP? I bet you've been a victim of it. Disappearing object phenomena happens so often that it is actually being studied because we don't understand what's happening. So, what is DOP? DOP happens more often than not when you are holding or using an object and suddenly you drop it, only to kneel down and look for it, but you can't find it. You could literally move all of the furniture in the room you're in and you still wouldn't find this object because it disappeared. There is another version of DOP as well, which is more like you put something somewhere, you know it's there. However, when you go back to get it, it's not. It's gone. But later on, you return just to check that spot again, and guess what's there? The object that was missing before. Yes, of course, many of these phenomena moments can be explained away by, well, forgetfulness, maybe forgetting if you did or didn't move something, somebody else moving something, but it has become so common that it is being studied because things just disappear sometimes and we don't know where they're going. So, I'm curious to know, have you ever experienced DOP or disappearing object phenomenon? Because I just did. I dropped something, moved everything in the room when I couldn't find it, and I still don't know and can't explain where the hell it is. Anyways, have a really good day and keep your eyes on your stuff because that shit just disappeared.
It happened to me.
Chris from Fallbrook. Is it just me, or is this happening to others? Objects are simply starting to disappear and then turn up again in a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Is this timeline shifting or what?
It can be. There is
Playing with the timeline.
Yeah, they are playing with the timelines. Of course they are. But also, Master, you could have beings moving things for you. That can happen. Apparitions will do that. Not ghosts. Ghosts cannot do that. Ghosts don't have the ability to interact with you. They're more of a recording. An apparition is a soul that has transitioned from physical to non-physical, that still holds a echoing or residual effect of its physical embodiment and still believes that it is embodied. And it could be that it is communicating with you. You could have one of those or several of those in your home or in your workspace. But yes, there are many, many timeline manipulations taking place. And also, Master, as you shift and grow in your perspective, you can be moving into your own version of timeline jumping and your own shifting and changing from the matrices that you create. You do this by shifting and changing your vibration. This can happen to you anytime that your centered point of energy is out of balance. So when your chi, your prana, your soul energy is knocked out of balance, is off kilter, is not seated securely in your center. You are not grounded. You are subject to ricocheting around in different timelines. That's why it's important for you to ground yourself and to stay centered and focus in a particular timeline that you feel that you have some controlling creative aspect for your experience. And most of humanity is not grounded. They are pulling and yanking on people's energy intentionally to keep them off kilter and out of balance. You know that you are out of balance if you are sick, if you are injured, if you are in pain in any way, if you are depressed, if you're feeling any of the lower vibrational emotions. Those are all points of knowing that you are out of balance. Your energy bodies are affected. They're probably entangled and all screwed up. We can recommend to you to have one of our 7 body energy processes done. We will help align your energy bodies and get you back into your center. But Master, ultimately, all of your own physical practices and your own life and lifestyle is your responsibility to prioritize the alignment of your consciousness with your soul. That is the place you will find your peace, your love, and your understanding.
Man, I know a lot of people out of here is out of whack. That's probably why most of the people that's watching this right now lose something at least once a week. That texture does look real, and that mask kind of favor Joe Rogan, don't it?
I'm going to try to explain quantum physics in 3 minutes. The word quantum might sound big and scary and advanced, and it's not. Quantum is a framework. It's a methodology. It's a way of thinking about something. Quantum comes from the word quanta. The best way to think about it is quantity. In classical physics, it was believed that the atoms were the smallest particle. Quantum physics, we now understand, have subatomic particles. The idea of quantum physics is only about 100 years old. Classical physics goes back at least as far as Aristotle, 400 BC. Some argue it's as old as 3000 BC in Sumer. So the idea of quantum physics is in its infancy. Now, quantum physics breaks a lot of rules that we have lived by for our entire modern history. The ever-popular double-slit experiment was a big oh shit moment. We started to really question the nature of our reality. In this experiment, we discovered that light travels both as a wave and as a particle. Waves, particles. Please understand it's a complex experiment, but I'm trying to keep it watered down. So what was discovered is when electrons were shot through these slits, there was a different result, depending on whether or not it was being observed by people. When the electrons were shot through the slits and they were not being observed, it looked like the above photograph. Lots of different waves. When they shot the electrons through the double slits and they were being observed, they collapsed. They did what we call collapse from a wave into a particle, like the bottom photograph. Enter the big oh shit moment. Why? I think intuitively you already know the answer to this. Consciousness. Another aspect to be familiar with in quantum mechanics is superposition. This basically states that any given particle is all particles at the same time until it is observed. The thought experiment was called Schrodinger's cat. Put a cat inside of a box, put cyanide in the box, wait an hour, and 50-50 chance that cat will be alive or dead. But during that hour, it is in a place of superposition. It is both alive and dead at the same time. To be honest with you, I hate this example. But the basic understanding is the same as the double slit experiment. A particle is anything and everything until it is observed. Next is entanglement. This says the two particles, even though they have vast distances between them, are still connected, i.e. entangled. There's a really good example by this astrophysicist named Jana Levin. She describes it as follows. If I'm here on Earth and you're on Andromeda, and we both have a wishbone in our hand, and you break your wishbone and you have the bigger piece, it doesn't matter when I break my wishbone. It could be today, it could be next year, 1,000 years. Whenever I break my wishbone, I will have the smaller piece because it is always entangled with yours. Another thing that's talked about is quantum tunneling. Basically, quantum tunneling is a particle's ability to travel through a barrier that it should not be able to travel through. Now, I know that I'm talking fast, but you can kind of see how superposition, entanglement, and tunneling all trace back to the double slit experiment. Particles are tunneling through the barrier. They are in superposition until they are observed, and they are entangled with you, the observer. Concept of quantum mechanics is fancy and advanced, yes, but there's a way to understand it without the math. It doesn't have to be difficult, we can understand it principally. Modern science is trying really hard to explain what you already know. The reason that a light wave changes into a particle when it's being observed is because of your consciousness that is collapsing it. Quantum mechanics, while it's still in its infancy, is honestly still partially conjecture. I believe that quantum physics will one day marry science and spirituality. 6 seconds left. Oof.
Life is a simulation.
As we know from physics, physical matter is just excitations from quantum fields. Particles as we know them are just quantum fields bundled up into little packets of energy. Think about it like drops of water emanating from underlying fields or waves of energy. It's like if everything was within a singular mind, and everything is a different thought form of that mind, one consciousness. Think about reality like a dream, where you momentarily experience yourself to be an individual character, but in reality, you are everything in that dream. You are the entire reality expressing itself through all things. So, you are made of matrix energy, but you are also the consciousness of the matrix experiencing itself through your individual entity. We basically act as vessels for the conscious matrix to experience its own simulation. Like everything else in the universe, we are just expressions of the same consciousness and act as vessels for that consciousness to experience life in different ways.
Okay, so I just wanted to give a quick trigger warning. If talking about reality or the universe or consciousness triggers you, then this is not the video for you. I'm not gonna lie, this video is going to get extremely dark. So if you're scared of death or have nihilism, this is, like I said, not the video for you. So what is quantum immortality? This is believed to be the answer to the Mandela effect by quantum physicists. If you don't know what the Mandela effect is, I would pause this video and go look it up on YouTube. But to give you a quick summary, it's basically when you remember something in your past being one way, but in the present moment, it's not. These are some of the most famous Mandela effects. But quantum immortality is the concept that your mind and consciousness transfers to an alternate reality when faced with imminent demise. This shift is necessary to survive very fatal events. So basically, your mind immediately crosses over into an alternate reality where it gets to keep living. But within this new reality, there will be slight changes to the detail, which brings us back to the Mandela effect. This theory relies on the concept of parallel universes. So for every change or decision that you make, an alternate world or universe lives for that decision. I really hope you guys are staying with me. We haven't even went down the rabbit hole yet. Quantum immortality is truly horrifying because it means that every Mandela effect change that you've experienced comes from you not existing originally in this reality. And it gets even darker. If quantum immortality is real, your friends, family, and significant other aren't your friends, family, and significant other. The original people that you loved and cared for are actually living in a completely different reality before you died and crossed over into this one. You are now living and interacting with different versions of your loved ones. You might love them and they still might love you, but these are not the original people that you love. I bet some of you are wondering, how do I fit in this timeline? Am I replacing someone else or am I replacing myself? Or did you kill an alternate consciousness to become this consciousness? The answer is I don't know. And I feel like if you sit and dwell on that, you're just gonna end up with nihilism. But there is a silver lining if this theory is true. You would never actually experience death. Your life would just continue indefinitely. There's so many TV shows on quantum immortality. I think the whole entire theory is just fascinating. Russian Doll is one of my favorites. Bandersnatch is another fucking amazing one. And not just that, it's interactive. So you pick what happens throughout the movie. And there's even episodes of The Twilight Zone that even touch on this theory as well. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and like this video. And
Man, they got UFOs all over Indiana, don't they?
Here we go, there's two of them now. Oh, I wish this would focus better. And they're gone again. What is that?
Wish you a focus. Look like a donut.
Look at the smoke.
What the fuck?
Dude, that's some fucking alien shit.
No, I've been seeing that all over the internet.
Hey, what? I haven't even slept yet, but here we are. So they've unlocked consciousness, and it connects to the entire universe, they say. It's just a simple quantum wave that can interact with everything that's ever existed. Casual. This article starts by saying there's no universally accepted scientific explanation of where consciousness comes from or where it lives. However, there's new work building off of a 1990s theory that consciousness is a quantum process facilitated by microtubules in the brain's nerve cells. So almost like those are the channels that it's streamed through. So this theory has it that consciousness as a wave function will go through these microtubules, and just like every quantum wave, it has properties like superposition and entanglement. Superposition is the ability to be in many places at the same time, and entanglement is the potential for two particles that are very far away to be connected, which was proven by the 2022 Nobel Prize. It's asserted that this is possible because of a fractal pattern occurring in our universe. Sacred geometry, the golden ratio, Fibonacci spiral, and basically when you have a heightened state of consciousness, your consciousness can entangle with quantum particles outside of your brain anywhere in the universe, theoretically. Initially, they thought it was only possible that this could occur under certain conditions, not possible in a brain, except quantum biology is actually proving this to be not the case. Here are the details of the study, and basically the results are that they lasted thousands of times longer than the expected coherence and more than long enough to perform the biological functions required to prove this theory. Findings published in the journal at the bottom. That's a lot to digest, but it roughly means we're stuck in a lane or route of a cosmic fractal shape that is shared by other realities, which are also stuck in their trajectories, meaning like we can't cross paths. It's asserted that when we ponder what-if scenarios, we're actually getting information about versions of ourselves in other universes who are also navigating this same type of track. We're all connected to the greater universe, which is how this is all possible, allegedly. Sounds a lot like the collective consciousness, or what we describe as God. I know this is something that's been said in different words for millennia. I just love connecting science and spirituality, so I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and like and follow for more. Thanks, bye.
What we call a human experience is merely the five senses converting waveform information into electrical information, upon which the brain then transforms this electrical information into the holographic world of buildings, streets, trees, people, etc. The world only exists when we are looking at it. When we are not looking at it, it goes back to its base state, which is waveform information. Atomic particles were also shown to be waves, and whether they manifested as a wave or a particle depended on if someone was looking. So observation collapsed the wave function. However, as David Icke points out, observation triggers the decoding process. Waves turn into particles when they are decoded by the act of observation. So what quantum physics calls the observer effect is actually the decoder effect, and that observation triggers the decoding process. Everything is an expression of waveform information, and we are decoding that waveform information into what we call the material realm, which is the realm of particles, which is the holographic universe. Holograms are created by directing a laser in the form of coherent light at a two-dimensional waveform pattern. Once the laser hits the waveform pattern, it projects a three-dimensional image. And we are creating reality the exact same way. We are transforming waveform information into holographic information. So the laser turns waveform information into holographic information. Our observation, our focus, our laser is converting two-dimensional waveform information into an illusory three-dimensional holographic reality. So If reality is holographic, which it is, how come everything appears to be solid? There's obviously some form of resistance, but it is not physical resistance. It is electromagnetic resistance. You cannot walk through a wall because of electromagnetic resistance. The wall is a very different electrical charge, a very different frequency compared to a human, and this creates resistance as differently charged energetic states resist each other. So I'm sitting in a chair right now, and electromagnetic resistance prevents me from falling through the chair, and the chair through the floor, and the floor through the earth. So it is all electromagnetic resistance. There is no solidity. Just as we're told that atoms are the building blocks of matter, but atoms aren't solid. So how can something that isn't solid create solidity? It can't. Reality is a holographic illusion, no more real than the dream you had last night. There is no external world, and the external is a reflection of the internal. Nothing exists outside of yourself. Just think of when you have a vivid dream. Does the dream exist outside of you? All is but a dream within a dream, and your perception is creating your dream. You are literally an imagination of yourself. The mind, or better yet, consciousness, who and what you truly are, creates through infinite imagination. So it is vitally important that we realize what we're experiencing is a dream, and then, and only then, can we change the dream. The collective consciousness has manifested this madhouse by believing in its illusions. People have become hypnotized by an illusion. So in order to awaken the sleeping beauty within us, we must realize what we're experiencing is a dream. So let us create a new dream based on love, peace, and unity. So until next time, remember, life is but a dream, and everything is one consciousness manifesting in different forms. You are me, I am you, all is one, and one is all. The kingdom of heaven is within you.
Hey, y'all think they putting out messages out there? Or y'all think that's just propaganda? Or you think it's just a marketing tool? Either way, it's genius to me.
Hello, it's your favorite AI hippie guy here to talk about holograms you can touch and feel. The future is coming, and I'm trying to get you ready. Microsoft has been working on this technology for quite some time. It's called the HoloLens, and now they have number 2. As you can see, it's expensive and it's used in industrial settings, but there are prototypes of using this technology in ways that don't require a headset. You can actually have holograms that can be made with sound waves or by bouncing stuff around mirrors in really clever ways. Sound waves can be used to create these sort of things. You already have seen the fans, that spin and make that kind of stuff. But if you haven't seen this video went viral quite a while ago. This is a hologram using, I believe, the HoloLens. I haven't actually looked into that or not, but I think this is HoloLens technology. As far as I can tell, this is something that would be inside of a VR headset. If it's not, this is goddamn impressive. But these holograms right here are pretty close to Joy from Blade Runner, if you know what that is. We're like this close to that. If you want to check out a little bit
interaction and visual guidance, increased comprehension, and scenario readiness. We expect information to be available at our fingertips. Channel your expertise using holographic guidance illustrating how to complete even the most complex tasks. Make next-level understanding possible for every worker with mixed reality.
If you want to support my work, I have a book. You can go and check this out on my profile. I got a thing. You know what to do.
So you pay for a cruise on the Carnival cruise ship and you are attacked by millions of birds. What do? Look at this, y'all.
Thought it was a joke, boy. There was so many birds out here, man. I'm talking about they flew all in folk room.
Why he sound like young Dro? Dro, I'm clean. Nah, you know what I mean.
They out here dead on the goddamn balcony and shit. One flew in clean head. She was hollering like a skull cat, John. You hear me?
Well, I had to, but and they were attacking the rooms too. Look at this. They're getting attacked in the rooms. See, look at that. They're in the room. You hear? That's where they at. The birds are going crazy. Y'all remember the movie Birds? Y'all remember that? And these people are on the water, and there's been a lot of activities on the water lately, y'all. Strange activities. Do you think the birds are affected by these type of activities? As you know, birds are very sensitive to the
So you tell me those are all birds? I thought those was bugs out there. You wish would explain all the birds, but if them birds right there, that's a lot of damn birds.
magnetic ley lines, which are produced by frequencies. This is why birds are known as messengers and let us know when change is afoot. But this right here seems abnormal, especially at nighttime, y'all. Birds shouldn't be doing this at night. Shout out to the good brother YGuap. I haven't seen any updates on his account, but that's who experienced this whole turmoil over here. But yes, y'all, let's continue to get this shift.
Scientists have discovered that injured comb jellies can fuse into a single organism. And no, it's not that different than the DBZ fusion from your childhood. It's actually closer to this than you might think, because here's a picture of the two jellyfishes that have fused together into a new single organism, and they even share their very rudimentary equivalent of a nervous system. In case you're unfamiliar, comb jellies are a very common species of jellyfish. They're billions of years old, often bioluminescent. They glow. They look beautiful, interesting, hollow like glass under the water. They light up at night. However, if you're looking at them during the daytime, they kind of look like a garbage bag that's been filled full of mucus. So the cool pictures tend to come at night with special cameras. This is what you would more commonly see. But let's get into the details here. They actually can merge with their neighboring jellyfish at wound sites, which is incredibly important. And this came about because a scientist that had researching them had been observing them for a long time, so they spotted an unusually large specimen with some of the anatomical features doubled, as in this image right here. It almost looks like a cell undergoing mitosis and just splitting apart. So they started researching, and if this was possible, if they could fuse together. They actually found a research paper from the 30s where one scientist was doing grafting experiments with these creatures. And what's really interesting is that the team, in order to test this out, decided to take 10 pairs of healthy-looking ctenophores, we'll just call them jellyfish, and hold them close together. The individuals were immobilized with little room for movement and a small gap between them. Gradually, we saw that gap closing, and finally the individuals came in contact with each other. First, they merged their membranes and epidermal parts, which constitute a two-cell barrier, two-cell deep barrier protecting the inside of the animal from the environment. Once it was complete, their nervous system started to merge too. The nerves got connected and electrical coupling happened. The muscle contractions started to synchronize. After 30 minutes, they were synchronized up to 50%. Not every system merged seamlessly. The pooping time seems to depend on each individual, as you say. And basically, this is a survival mechanism because these aren't really like tough creatures in the traditional sense. They don't take damage. So if they get hurt, it's evolutionarily advantageous to them to be able to merge with nearby neighbors that might also be injured, which I think is very cool. And the next time you see a double of jellyfish, just keep in mind you might be witnessing.
Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman from Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's got to stop.
Shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
A small miracle.
She's also translated as the conductor. And metal conducts electricity, which is also what plasma does. And Taoism has metal and other systems don't. I find that very, very fascinating. So the presence of metal in this system is also a way to bridge dimensions. Her needle here corresponds to a needle that your acupuncturist might use on your body. The weak or strong with her as the weaver also speaks to how she's darning and tending to whatever she's repairing. This is radiative plasma. Radiative plasma has to do with radioactive.
You ever see that kids movie Soul, where the jazz musician is unalived and he's sucked up into the sky, and there's that big white door that looks like it's just filled with electricity that he's going towards on this little moving platform? Anyways, it's kind of like that. The intelligent plasma hypothesis explains fucking everything about the universe to me, and I just need to tell you. It's the hypothesis that under the right conditions, plasma can exhibit intelligence or consciousness. This is exactly what I'm talking about, people. First thing that tripped me out about plasma is that it is 99% of our observable universe, yet we don't really study it all that much. And humans are 5 to 7% plasma in our blood and in our brains. Now, plasma reacts to electromagnetic fields. So when our brain is putting out these electromagnetic waves, the plasma in our body could be reacting to that and creating our consciousness, creating our surroundings for us. Now, if this powerful plasma is creating our soul, creating our consciousness for us, what happens to it at the time of our unaliving? Is it just unalived with us? Scientists say no, because it cannot be destroyed. So this plasma could possibly be returning to the universe. So that makes me wonder, are all of our consciousnesses connected because they all come from the same universe? I'm telling you, I'm getting deep with this study done that showed that humans at the time of their unaliving lose about 21 grams. So could that 21 grams be our plasma, our soul, our consciousness leaving our body? This would explain a lot. This would explain near-death experiences. This would explain out-of-body experiences. This could even explain alien abductions and UFO sightings. Plasma is fucking everywhere. Recently, they just found plasma bubbles above the Pyramid of Giza, and I have a whole theory about that with electricity and all that, but that's a whole nother video.
Is the moon semi-transparent and two-dimensional? Let's see. The patterns on the moon are always the color of the sky. The negative filter shows this clearly. Black sky. Black patterns. blue sky, blue patterns. Do you see it?
I have never seen anything like this before. And what the heck? What is all this? They got it staked up or something? I almost want to climb on it. Oh, you can climb on it. Look at the boot prints. Whoa! And
this dude done built a whole fort around the house. But I feel him though. He don't want his property getting damaged, and it looked pretty sturdy. I wonder how well it held up. I want to see some after pictures.
I think this is going to save them. This shit's going to float. Oh, it's water. It's full of water. Holy shit. They is not letting this bitch float or flood. Check them out. They got pumps on the inside of it, pumping it out for whenever it does fill up. Let's see, it must be somewhat full already, huh? I got my water boots on, so. Yep, there's the pump right there. Pumping that shit out. Right through the hose. There's another pump over there. Shit, this might actually work. This might actually work. Look at all that. All the way around the whole entire building. They got 1, 2, 3, probably at least 4 or 5 pumps pumping this shit out.
They had caught a crazy pixie on their shit, yo. I'm sorry I be cursing and all that, y'all, you feel me? It's just, I be like excited about this joint, you feel me? Yeah, real rap though. But no, hold up. I had to take a zoom in. Look at that joint, bro. That's Tinkerbell. Yo, that's Tinkerbell. Look, bro, you can literally see the wings and all that, the arm, the leg, like the leg is curled up. Now, I know y'all remember the time that I was posting them fairies and shit because of the hole inside his hand, yo. And then the one joint where the little girl was running away from it. I know y'all remember that joint. Y'all remember this one, right? So in like 2024, 2025, yo, you just can't put this shit past you anymore, bro. We done seen everything at this point, you feel me? Like, it's just a lot of y'all that just don't want to wake up, though. There's so much shit being flown at your face this year. It's crazy. Am I right or am I wrong? Oh my God.
The prophecies are coming true. There is likely a pole shift that is happening right now. Morocco's Sahara Desert is flooding. And not only that, Antarctica is turning green. Now, if you are unaware, this is scientific fact. This is not some woo-woo stuff. Earth has a magnetic pole. This is where the compass comes from. The poles are supposed to go this way, right? But now it's kind of turning the other way, which is basically everything that was is now going to be something else. Hence why the Sahara Desert is flooding. Now, Earth's weather has been all over the place for years now. We've been warned of this, and although I'm not Christian, I'm just spiritual. I keep saying this. There's a lot of truth in the Bible that we don't want to admit. But the Genesis flood narrative is included in the Old Testament of the Christian Bible, which talks about what is happening exactly right now. Here's what they're not telling you about pole shifts. The human avatar, the human vessel, our energy is directly, and I mean directly, tied to Mother Earth's grid. There is a reason why in textbooks you will see Earth with this grid around it. This is an energetic grid that ties to the poles. Everything is interconnected. The meridians, the chakras of our body align to the meridians and the chakras of Earth. Earth has a chakra system as well. However, the pole shift is an unnatural occurrence. It is not supposed to happen. If you've been a follower of the spiritual community or have followed spiritual teachers will tell you that the pole shift is not supposed to happen. This means that our consciousness has not rised enough, has not ascended enough to a higher level so that we can make Earth stable. When Earth is unstable and our energy is directly connected to Earth, it creates turmoil. If our inner selves are chaotic and unhealed, guess what's going to happen to Earth? A lot of you have also been getting prophetic dreams about floods, natural disasters, things freezing over. I know for sure I have. These dreams have occurred since I was a child. I encourage all of you to continue to do your spiritual work and to continue to raise the frequency of Earth and help humanity ascend, because we are not supposed to be in pole shift right now. For obvious purposes, I have to say this video is just theory. It's just for fun, entertainment. Don't take me seriously. This is all I can say about the pole shift, because if I say any more, my videos will be taken down. And you're already hearing the distractions in the background. They're not allowing me to say this. If you would like to learn more about if you want to learn more about the pole shift, about the true galactic origins of humanity and why the ones in control want so bad to harm us and harm our DNA through poisoning our foods and giving us bad media, you can learn about that in my book, Made in God's Image. The link to my book is in my bio. We are fighting a battle that we cannot see with our two eyes. This is a spiritual battle. This is an energetic battle. And it's time we spread more information like this video to awaken the masses that this is not supposed to be happening.
I have figured out how our smartphones read our minds. They actually can. Everyone talks about how it's a myth. It's not possible. It is. I'm going to explain why, and it's something that you would probably never guess. Oh, and this also proves that our consciousness is received from outside our brains. You'll see. Hang with me. This is the deep dive into quartz crystals, plasma, radio waves, reading your minds, and consciousness. Okay, very quick. The first thing you just need to be a little bit aware of is what plasma is. Plasma makes up 99.9% of the universe. No one's really taught about it in school, and you'll find out why. It basically, in science, is known as an ionized gas. There is solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. Plasma interacts with radio waves. This is going to make sense. It can reflect radio waves in the ionosphere of the Earth, which makes them bounce back and forth and how we communicate on some frequencies. It can also transmit radio waves. And if the radio wave's frequency is equal to plasma frequency, resonance occurs. Oh, you mean like when you can feel someone's vibe in the air? Yes, that's the same in my theory. Just for this video, let's compare consciousness to a radio wave. Just like how some people say that consciousness resides outside the body, I do not think our brain is generating consciousness. And a lot of studies are leading now towards this, that we receive consciousness. Some people say it is from the microtubules in your brain do. I think it's the plasma membrane. Either way, compare consciousness to radio waves. You'll see why. It makes sense. Blah. So we've established that in this plasma that is all around us, invisible, it can hold radio waves or consciousness, potentially. That's my theory. It is speculation right now. I'm working on proving it. We're about to go back to the phone and why it reads your mind. Don't worry. You just got to know all this. So there's something called a plasma antenna, which they're currently developing, where plasma is used instead of metal elements of a traditional antenna. So the antennas use plasma instead of metal to transmit and receive radio waves. So we've established plasma definitely can transmit these radio waves better than anything else. One just little fun fact for all my plasma lovers out there. This was actually invented in 1919 by this guy, J. Hettinger. He basically talked about this thing he called radiant energy because plasma was not named until like 1928. So this is proof that plasma is ether or radiant matter because now they're using it on plasma. And he talked about how this mechanism would work and made the exact patent that they're working on now, 100 years later almost. Well, yeah, more than 100 years later to create plasma antennas. So they've had this for the government has had this for like 100 years. But in my mind, this literally proves that radiant energy, which is expressed, or ether, is plasma. And that matters for a lot of reasons, not for this video. Okay. But in case you're wondering, here's the patent. It's really cool. You can go look it up. But yeah, they're working on this now. So now you're probably saying, if you have some sort of intelligence, Dana, the crystals in your phone are not plasma crystals. They're quartz crystals. I know. Thanks. And let me tell you why that matters and how everything interacts. Quartz crystals interact with plasma. So plasma crystals are not used in phones. This is a whole nother subject I will get to another time. This is very magical as well. So quartz crystals are used in your phone, and they're a naturally occurring mineral made of silicon dioxide, also known as silica. In my mind, I know silica also has to do with plasma, so my brain started thinking, which it should do. So the quartz crystals in the cell phones are used to generate a reference signal for, here we go, radio waves. And once again, quartz crystals are made of silica. or silicon dioxide, which is literally made of Earth's most abundant material, silicon and oxygen. So you would think it probably interacts with plasma. And why does this matter? It matters because this is how our phones read our minds. I don't even know if the people making them realize this, so here we go. So there's something called radio frequency plasma processing that can be used to treat silica. I hope I'm saying silica right. Who knows with me. Basically, silica can interact with plasma. Obviously, also plasma interacts with radio frequency, with radio waves, just like we talked about in the beginning. RF plasma sources work by using an electromagnetic field created by a radio frequency source to ionize a gas and turn it into plasma. Okay, here's where it gets like really juicy. So a quartz crystal in a phone works by generating a stable reference signal for radio waves that are used to send and receive voice and text. And a reference signal for radio waves is a predetermined signal that's used for these communication systems. So if our brain receives consciousness or radio signals like a phone receives radio signals and sends out radio signals, this has a lot of implications. Like number one, just like a quartz crystal generates a stable reference to receive and send these texts, our brain can use what you would call a plasma crystal. And basically just think of us as crystallized plasmas. Like humans can generate signals that's like telepathy. So we can train our minds harnessing plasma to literally send and receive images and words to each other, which we're starting to do and which we can be trained to do and learn. I know it's a stretch, but it's really not. And it all does connect. And I'll get to the plasma in the brain. So basically in this theory, and I'm going to connect to why our phones read our minds, there's plasma all around us. And then there's these quartz crystals which help receive the radio waves that we're getting from plasma. So just like it's receiving text messages, what if it's receiving what we're thinking, which is consciousness? So when you think, I want to go to Japan, and then you see a sign of Japan on your phone or vacation stuff about Japan all of a sudden and you didn't speak it out loud, this explains why. It does. And here's why. Sorry, I'm just excited because I feel like I'm really onto this. Like I'm onto something here. And this will be proven in the future. Oh, and just like they're making plasma antennas, we are the plasma antennas. Humans, we are the magic. We can train ourselves without even technology to receive thoughts from each other, which no one can control or capitalize on. Yikes. Well, actually, I guess they can read it with phones. Oh, well. Maybe if our minds learn to access certain frequencies, we can secretly communicate without anyone listening. This really could happen. It's the future. Oh, okay. So in our brains, there's also plasma. This is different than space plasma, but they're actually, the plasma inside our blood is named after the plasma in space because they have almost the exact same properties. They're just used in different ways, which have to do with communication, protection, cleaning, transporting. So brain plasma is the liquid component of the blood that flows through the brain, shaping the biochemical environment for neurons. Oh, that's pretty interesting and pretty useful. Or that's a pretty big deal. That's what I was trying to say. I think I had a seizure. So plasma protects, nourishes, removes waste from the brain. This plasma in the brain, and no, there's no studies that are saying this, I don't think yet. This plasma could be the reason why we can receive consciousness from the outer space plasma. Right, Danica? Once again, I'm working on this theory, but it really does make sense. Does it not? I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything, by the way. I'm just putting this out there so hopefully anyone who's smarter than me can help me figure this out. Because I don't care if I'm the one to discover it or not. Maybe I said it.
Make sense to y'all, or do it sound like she's just making shit up?
First, maybe I didn't. But I want to help humanity, guys. And my intuition is very strong about these things. Why else would I be obsessed with plasma? It's my life purpose, obviously, to help people communicate, because I have trouble communicating in my life. I want to connect the world with interdimensional beings. Okay, let's go back to, I think that's possible too with plasma though. But this video is not about that. But plasma basically is the great communicator, which they're literally figuring out, which is why the government is building plasma antennas, which we already are the plasma.
It sounds like she need to put that damn Dunkers down. She over there wired as hell, ain't she?
Plasma antenna. Humanity is special, and we can learn telepathy to communicate with each other and other dimensions and realities. I swear, guys, just give it some time. I'm not crazy. Okay, so here's what we've established. And this is my theory. Our phones are currently made with quartz crystal that receive radio waves or interact with radio waves and have something to do with making it on that frequency to receive those waves. Potentially, if our consciousness is held outside our body in this plasma or this energy or this air, and we also are just like phones, as above, so below, receive our consciousness and other frequencies with our brain plasma. It's all plasma, guys. Potentially, if we think something, it can travel through the plasma air into the phone. And that is why we see those images that we're thinking and that we're like, how is it reading our minds? Literally, it's reading our minds. This also has implications about the fact that consciousness is held outside the body. It may be like radio waves. We receive it. It is non-local. And plasma is the vehicle for consciousness and holds consciousness. We will be able to access plasma in the future for communication and telepathy. If you want to screenshot it, when I asked ChatGPT, this is something it said about plasma to do with advanced communication technologies. Obviously, it didn't get into interdimensional communication. That's for another time.
Right now without even knowing it. If you are, well, there's no escape, right? So you may as well enjoy the ride. But how could this possibly be true? Well, it relies on the idea that for a lump of collapsing matter, the event horizon of the black hole forms before the collapse begins. This might seem impossible, but it's not. To illustrate, let's do a thought experiment. Picture this. I'm a supervillain and I've put you into a coma, brought you...